What's going on, everyone? Philly Insider, got Drew and Hunter here. Unfortunate circumstances today, once again. Not the first two games you want to have to start off a season, to say the least. But that being said, it is 2 of 162, and we will keep saying that until it's deep enough into the season where we can't say that anymore. So I am still very excited about this season moving forward. Obviously, the last 2 days put a damper on it a little bit, and hopefully put that behind us tomorrow. It's a very real chance we get swept to start the season, but that being said, look, I mean, they just got smoked. There's not a ton that we're going to talk about in this post game. There's really not a ton to analyze. There's a few bright spots here and there, believe it or not, and we'll look forward to tomorrow too. But Drew, thoughts on whatever that was today?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just a disaster from the start with that Bohm error that they reversed that call and made it a hit, which is absolutely outrageous. I mean, that's an out 90% of the time. It's just he just bobbled it and went right out of his bare hand, and I don't know. That's the scoring has been questionable at best for the last year, so I don't really know. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some bright spots today, though, for sure. I mean, like Star Wars just said, Stott and JT both had good games. I mean, it's always good to see that. JT looked terrible yesterday, so it's kind of good thing to see him get going today a little bit, hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, it was good to see him on that home run. Pulled his hands in on a sinker inside too, which was one of the things I think they were fixing the hole in his swing for specifically. So that was definitely good to see. He, like you said, he looked good today. The single in the second, or I think it was the third at bat, maybe looked really good too. So I certainly agree with you. He looked a lot better today, and I still think he's due for a big season. I'm excited for Realito this year. And yeah, like Star Wars said too, Stott. I mean, Stott was awesome today. He had a double in garbage time, but he also had multiple hits before that, RBI single as well. Came through with that big 2-run single earlier in the game. At that point, it was a close game still, and he kept us in it with that. But unfortunately, there's an elephant in the room that we have to address, as David and Star Wars both talked about. Aaron Nola was pretty brutal today. And granted, do I expect this the rest of the season? No, I certainly don't think Aaron Nola is going to pitch this way the rest of the year. And I get it. People are upset. We just paid him a big contract, and he was not necessarily that great in the regular season last year. I understand that. But at the same time, you are paying him for October, right? And this does not change my outlook on the rest of the season and on the potential postseason for him this upcoming year. And I certainly think he will pitch well enough to get us to the postseason as the season progresses, and I think he will pitch well in the postseason. But we are here to talk about what happened today, and what we saw today from Nola was pretty disgusting. I mean, it was garbage. Granted, the Braves got lucky. They got a number of weak contact hits. They put the ball in play, but they did also kind of rake off of Nola too. Like, it wasn't like they didn't get guys on base. It wasn't like they didn't hit the baseball hard at all. They didn't win because they got lucky. They won because they played sound baseball and they were fundamental, and the Braves are a great regular season team. I mean, that's just the reality. The Braves are a very talented baseball team, and they gave Nola fits today, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Nola, he was definitely struggling in the beginning. His velo was like 90 at the beginning, and it kind of ticked up a little bit there near the middle of the game. But I mean, overall, his stuff was flat today. I mean, his curveball wasn't breaking like it normally does. His changeup was mediocre, and his fastball definitely wasn't running like it does whenever he is being vintage Nola. It's definitely not ideal. I mean, Wheeler yesterday, he was phenomenal, and you flip the script to today, and you get a total dud from Nola. It's just not what you want to see in the beginning of the season. But I mean, obviously, it's only, like we said, game 2, but it doesn't really instill confidence in you in Nola for the next start. I mean, you need him to bounce back next start and have a good outing, because he's a key piece of what you're going to do this year for sure. And if he's not at his best, you are in deep trouble.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, not gonna work our way around what happened today. I mean, that was pretty awful. I mean, that was just brutal to watch. But like you said, Drew, he is going to be an essential piece to this team if they want to get back to the postseason, if they want to play well in the postseason this year. So I'm not going to overreact to it. I think he's going to be fine. It's tough to come out of the gate and play a team like the Braves right away. I'm not making excuses, but that certainly doesn't help when you have a bad day and the Braves are on the other side too, because they're just going to keep piling on. So that was not great. But you also said this in our Discord, Drew. Max Fried also did not pitch well today, and that guy's been a really good pitcher for the past couple of years. I think he threw 43 in the first inning, so that says you the other side of it too. Like, it's not just Knowles. I mean, it happens early in the season, and as you look at plenty of lines around the league right now too. There's plenty of guys who are not pitching well in the first couple games who will figure it out as the season progresses. But I get it. There's frustration around Nola. He can be a frustrating pitcher from time to time. It is what it is. And we are 0-2 to start the season, unfortunately. Like, it really sucks. I wish we weren't sitting here talking about losing the first 2 games the way we did. Like, if we dropped them and one of them was close, I'd much prefer to be talking about that. We'd have something interesting to talk about, but there's just not a lot to talk about with the way the game went down because of how Nola pitched too. So with that said, let's get to a few of these comments here before we move forward, Drew. Nerio says, welcome all the way in from Italy, by the way. Appreciate you. It's 2 games, yeah, but it looks like the guys are mentally collapsed already. I get that. Like, it does look like that when the games become out of hand, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. And they started off 0-5 last year, too. You could have made the same case then as well. I know all the games weren't blowouts, but it happened last year as well. Like, I wouldn't say they came into the season mentally collapsed or anything like that. You could maybe make the case that there's a hangover from the past 2 postseasons in the way we started the past 2 years. That's very possible. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not really going to be concerned until like late May and June if they're still struggling like this. But I get it. It's frustrating. It's 2 games. There's going to be some frustration with that.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page with you. Like, if this carries over for a month or 2, it's going to be definitely concerning. But I mean, I wouldn't say they look mentally collapsed. I think they just do a really good job of not letting stuff like this affect them, because they have that mentality. You know, there's 162 of them. You know, you can't win them all. You just got to go to the next one whenever something like this happens, and it's going to happen. I mean, you're going to do it to other teams. Teams are going to do it to you. It's just the way baseball goes, unfortunately. And the first 2 games we've been on the bad side of it. It's just the way it goes sometimes. You know, it's going to be what it's going to be. Move on to the next one.
Yeah. And Star Wars says the Kyle Steele was fun. Yeah. I mean, Drew, you said it before I did. Like, he looks like he's moving better this year for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's not no speed demon by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, when he can swipe a bag here and there like that, catch the pitcher off guard, it definitely helps a lot, because he took away, was it first and second at that point, or was he on second alone?
Yeah, it was first and second. He was on second. Bryce was on first.
Yeah. 1 out, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that, I mean, if you try, like, I think who was up then? Bohm, right?
Yeah, Bohm. Or JT was up. He got walked, right? And then Bohm came up, almost hit a grand slam.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he ended up getting out, if I'm not mistaken.
But the steal, and it got rid of the double play because Bryce also stole second at the same time. So, I mean, stuff like that, it changes the game a lot for sure. Mm-hmm. If JT were to hit into a double play, I mean, it wouldn't have been a double play at that point. So
would have been a run. Yeah. And also with that too, it's like they picked up something on Fried having a slow windup. And that's like the little things throughout the game. You know, you got to have the IQ to read that, because even if you're not fast, you can still pick up that extra base. And he stole third too. Like, you have to make sure that you know that he's going to have a slow windup and you're going to be able to time that jump too. And obviously with Schwarber, they're not going to expect him to steal. So he has a little bit of an edge there too, but he looks more to me like he did in 2022. We will see what he looks like in game 162 this year after a full season. That's going to be the question mark, but yeah, that was exciting to see. And Josh says Braves are on their A game because they want revenge. Yeah. I mean, they always play us well in the regular season, and I would absolutely prefer it that way if it means we still play well in the playoffs. So, and we'll get to tomorrow too, but Matthew, welcome in. Good to see you in here. He says, any faith in Ranger tomorrow? And yeah, I mean, I think Ranger, knowing the situation, knowing that we are now down in an 0-2 hold to start the year, Ranger pitches well in these types of games where you need to avoid a sweep or you need to close out a series or whatever the situation is. I think when Ranger knows he needs to have a good start, he always has a good start. And he was fully healthy this spring. It's the first time we've had him like with a full spring. Last year, the injury, the year before that, still getting stretched out. So it's very exciting to have him ready to go this year. Yeah, I think he's going to have a good start tomorrow. If he doesn't, you know, not ideal. I would really prefer if we got a good start tomorrow and, you know, we have a good game to talk about. But I certainly think Ranger's going to go out there and give everything he's got. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, Rangers, he's got a good feel for the moment. So I think he's going to he's going to come out and deal tomorrow. I mean, I think everybody has confidence in Ranger no matter the situation anymore because he's shown us so many times that he can do it in the biggest spots and have nothing affecting him, which is absolutely what you want in a guy that's going to be pitching playoff games for you like he is. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, we'll get to that in a little bit, but I mean, I think the Phillies have a good chance of winning tomorrow because, I mean, I don't think Sale's an easy pitcher to get hits off of, but
No.
he's kind of like not similar to Fried, but they're both tough lefties, and the Phillies seem like they hit tough lefties well sometimes for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And Matthew agrees with us. He says he has faith in Ranger to be the stopper tomorrow. Yeah, I think so too. I think he can absolutely do that. And, maybe that doesn't lead to a win. Who knows? But I think Ranger will do his part tomorrow. And shout out from Okinawa. Hey, thank you for tuning in all the way from Okinawa. We appreciate you, man. We got people from Italy in here too. That is amazing. So we appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, like Star Wars said, they got freed out of the game early too. So that's kind of the point we were talking about. But sir, welcome in. Interesting profile picture there with Jose Altuve. Hopefully no trolls here, but it says, just like last year, it is a shame they didn't get Phil Maton or Robert Stevenson as they signed for dirt cheap. Yeah, those two were interesting for sure. Maton would have been a nice depth piece as well. But again, it's 2 games, and I do think our bullpen, again, last year they were one of the better pens in baseball, and I will continue to say that until they're not this year. And I know people are upset about how the last couple of days have panned out, but again, it's game 1 and game 2. I'm not super concerned about it. They do need to add a guy or two to the pen. I won't deny that, and I think they will as the year goes on. But again, I mean, I think they're going to be fine. I think they have some depth there too. Kirkering is going to come back as well. He looked good in AAA today, by the way. That was encouraging to see. He had good numbers, at least velo-wise. So I'm not super concerned about that. Maton would have been a nice depth piece. Stevenson, there was definitely some upside there, but also when you have the Angels as the team that paid the highest for him, that concerns me a little bit.
And he also signed a 3-year deal, right? So that's that's something I don't think the Phillies are very interested in as far as relievers go because they have a strong pitching development going on right now, and you don't want somebody clogging up the bullpen if they're not a 100% lockdown reliever.
Definitely. Yeah, and I'd rather.
And that was how he got paid.
So. Right. Yeah, exactly. And if it means we add a guy like a Ryan Helsley at the deadline, I'm totally cool with us having passed on Robert Stevenson for that. So we will see. Time will tell. But obviously the bullpen was not great the first couple of days. I'm not going to dance around that.
Yeah. And Stevenson's already hurt, so that's also another thing.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And that was, I think, part of the concern with him too. Calvin, welcome in, says 2 home losses was a bit of a surprise, but teams are still trying to regain chemistry. That will take a month. And yeah, teams are just trying to get their feet under them right now. Like the Phillies, we talked about this in the offseason, Drew. They use the regular season to experiment. I'm not saying the past 2 days were an experiment. Obviously, they were trying to win those games, and they failed miserably. But I'm not super, super concerned with the first 2 games and how they panned out. I don't think we can emphasize that point enough. But that's kind of how we feel about it at this point.
Yeah, and it was good to see the offense actually come out and actually do something today. I mean, whether they won the game or not, they still scored, 5 runs or 4 runs? I mean, it's still encouraging to see. I mean, obviously it was kind of just a couple guys doing it, but, I mean, a lot of hard hit balls and balls that most of the time are going to drop. It's just things didn't really go our way today. I mean, Bryce laced a couple right at first base, and they didn't get down the line. So it's just, sometimes things happen that way, and you just got to forget about it.
Right. And like you said, Drew, there was a lot of unlucky contact today. A lot of bloopers dropped in for the Braves. A lot of weak hit baseballs just found the space in between infielders. And for us, we had a ton of hard hit baseballs that just did not find green grass. And Kelnick makes a diving play early on, and you're like, well, just that type of day. Bryce Harper hits a line drive to first base, which I guess on the exit velo wasn't actually hit that hard, but still barreled it up, in my opinion, and still looked like it was hit hard. Right to Matt Olson, doubles up Trey Turner for double play. Stuff like that happened today. And again, we lost flat out. Like, we got unlucky, but we still lost. But, sometimes that's just the way the game goes. So Jose says, win tomorrow and sweep the Reds. It'll make me feel better about the series. Yeah, that would be great to come out and sweep the Reds the next week. I mean, I'm not saying they need to sweep the Reds. Nothing's a must win at this point in the year, but it would be nice if they came out and won that series and rebounded, because the schedule will get a lot easier. So if you get some momentum going into that stretch for the next couple months, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, and even if you go out tomorrow and you win, and then you win 2 of 3 against the Reds, I mean, that's still very fine. I mean, you'd be 3-3 at that point, so you got to be feeling good about that if that would happen. I mean, I don't, like I said, or like you said, I don't really buy into the first couple games. Like, I'm not gonna let it dictate how I feel about the team for the full season. So, I mean, I guess we'll see here come a week from now. But I mean, as far as the bullpen was going, you were talking about it a little bit, but unless we're like 50 games in and they're still not pitching well, I mean, then I would probably be concerned. But like you said, as far as I'm concerned, they're still a good bullpen, and things are going to turn around for them here in the next couple of weeks, I'm assuming.
Definitely, yeah. Shout out Ian. Says he was at the game. I know that was an unfortunate one to be at, Ian. And I was there yesterday, and I texted Ian. We essentially had the same experience with how the two games played out. Different games, obviously, but I mean, same result. So Ian says rough one, but we'll be all right. JT and Stott were fun to watch. Yeah, those are really the two offensive stories of the day, honestly. And very encouraging to see what they did today. So feel good about that. Speaking of, go for it.
Speaking of the bullpen, I kind of just touched on, but people that don't deserve to be on the team, the guy that pitched the 9th inning, that guy is terrible. Connor Brogdon, man, holy, I don't even know what to say at this point. As soon as Kirkering's back, he's going to be gone, thankfully. But, I mean, wow, how bad can you possibly be?
Right. And we knew going into the year that he probably shouldn't have been on the roster, and he wasn't going to finish the year on the roster. But and I think we even knew, like, when Kirkering came back, he was the guy that was going to be off.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the way it's going, he might even be off before then.
Yeah, what a downfall. I mean, he was fine like 2 years ago, and now he's just he goes out there and he's like batting practice. I mean, you might have a better chance if you bring up Cody Clemens and put him in the bullpen.
I don't even think that's an exact. Like, I know you're joking, but I don't think that's.
I might not be, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, he is awful.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And Sir also asked, also, guys, did you like what Topper did with the lineup so far? I like JT batting cleanup. Yeah, as we went into the year, I was very much on board with JT batting cleanup with the reported fix in his swing. I think that's the right move. I think if he does get going, like, he's the guy who's just going to take hold of that 4 spot and solidify that top 4 in the lineup. And I think I've said it multiple times, he's so much more important to this offense than I think a lot of people realize.
Yeah, and my only gripe with the lineup is Stott needs to be hitting 5th every single game. I don't know what happened today. They switched it up a little bit, but they had JT and Bone batting back-to-back. And if you have Harper on base, there's a ton of potential for a double play with those two guys. I mean, it's those guys hit into a lot of double plays just alone, the two of them. And they're also strikeout prone. I mean, Bohm isn't quite as much as JT, but I mean, I think Stott needs to be batting 5th every single game because he's not going to strike out. He's going to put the ball in play. And if you have Harper and Turner on base, you need the ball put in play.
Yeah, I think lefty is obviously tough, but I think at this point over the past year and today, Stott has proven he can still hit lefty. And with the reps, he's only gotten better at it. And today he was 3 for 3, if I'm not mistaken, or 3 for 4.
Yeah, he had that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be at least 6th in the lineup too. If you want to have the 2 righties, whatever, okay, have your way. But I feel like 7 behind Castellanos, which is also something we need to get to as well, is a little egregious.
He was behind Castellanos today?
Yeah, he was behind. Castellanos was 6th today. So
wow, that's brutal.
They stacked 3 righties for the lefties, and the lefty only pitched 1 inning. So after that, they were kind of screwed over. But that's the other thing. I also want to say too, I'm fine with Merrifield playing today. Like, I'm not gonna. There's not really much to take away from Merrifield today. Like, he did hit a baseball hard. I thought he was fine. Like, obviously didn't do anything, but I didn't think he was a negative or a positive. That being said, I get he does have to play early in the season, especially with the contract you signed him to. But I would like if they played Marsh more versus lefties this year to see what he can do. But like you said yesterday, Drew, I guess maybe they just really don't think he's going to be productive against them. And it just is what it is at that point. I don't know. But I would certainly like to give him more reps and give him the opportunity, because without those reps, he's not going to get better. It might be bad at first, but if you progress and develop him in that regard, maybe you're able to get him hitting versus lefties. I don't know, but just a little side note there. But I think with that, we probably should get to Castellanos. Well, Tony, welcome in. Says Castellanos is going to kill you all year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact. That's not an opinion at this point. I mean, man, he looks terrible. There's no way around it. I mean, he's swinging at everything, whether it's anywhere near the zone or not. It's been pretty terrible. And I believe, wasn't he the one that struck out looking at 97 going right down the middle?
He had the one where it was called a ball and then it got walked.
That's right. That's right.
too, which was also wild. I
That
mean,
was a terrible call.
Maybe the worst missed strike call I've ever seen in the past decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can imagine Braves fans were pretty furious when that happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a terrible call. We got runs off of it too. That should also be noted. That's part of the reason why we scored today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Castellanos, he's been nothing short of just absolutely awful over the first couple of days here. I mean, if he's going to play like that, even anything like that all year, the Phillies are going to have trouble winning games because he's going to come up with guys on base very, very frequently throughout the entire season. And if he's just going to kill the rallies with strikeouts and double plays, then, I mean, good luck, I guess.
Looked a lot more to me like 2022 Castellanos than 2023. And 2023 Castellanos wasn't anything great, but it was certainly better than what we had in 2022. And that's concerning, man. The swings he's had, even in the at-bats where he hasn't gotten completely fooled, the swings have been very, very concerning. So that's already, to me, like, I know that's 2 games. That'll be one of my overreactions, is I'm kind of sounding the alarm right now on that. Yeah. It doesn't look like something that's going to get better as the season goes on. It just looks like the game plan against him right now.
Yep. And another thing, kind of like an overreaction from today, Johan Rojas looked absolutely lost today. I don't know. He might have had a blindfold on like Castellanos did yesterday, honestly, because he was bad. I mean, and it was Jesse Chavez making him look like he was blindfolded. So that's not ideal for you.
No, it's not. It's not. Like Star Wars said, his offense needs to be better. I thought he was okay yesterday, but like you said when we were talking earlier today, Drew, he's not a major league hitter right now, and he's just going to have to get the reps because that's what the Phillies have done to themselves. They've invested in that situation to this point, and I don't know. I just don't know. Like that's a very valid overreaction through 2 games. It's just kind of like you just hope when he's up to bat. Like you really just hope he's going to do anything. And I certainly hope he proves us wrong. And I would love to see him break out and find some success and figure some things out to just be at least a serviceable major league hitter. Because I think that's all he needs to be. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. And I see Chris hopping in with the comment here. Trey needs to shave his beard and move to second base. Yeah, I mean, the former of those 2 would certainly help him, I think. It's not necessarily a great look in my opinion, but you do you, Trey. That's your decision. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the move to second base happens at some point in his career. I know that's been talked about a lot among the fan base over the past couple of years or the past year or so, of whether Stott should move to shortstop and Turner should play second. I do love Stott at second, though. I think he's solid at shortstop. I just think he's tremendous at second base outside of the one play yesterday. But I mean, if Turner continues to kill you at shortstop, that's something you're going to have to consider. But I don't know.
I don't really think he was a problem today, though.
Not today, no.
But I mean, his defense has been very, very shaky at shortstop since we signed him. I mean, it's not ideal, but I mean, it'd be tough to take Stott off second base because he's a bona fide Gold Glove guy over there. Yep. And also bouncing back a little bit to the Rojas situation, I think we're going to see maybe Christian Pache play tomorrow because Johan looked terrible today, and I think the Phillies probably saw that.
Mm-hmm. I would not be opposed to Merrifield left field and Pache center tomorrow. I think that would certainly be fine. I was going to say I would love to see Pache play tomorrow with it's Sale on the mound, so another lefty on the mound. And again, Pache has in the past, at least last year, he looked like a very above average major league hitter against left-handed pitching. He sees the ball very well, has no problems versus them. I think he's a very good hitter against left-handed pitching. So I would certainly love to see him tomorrow. I think that's a real possibility too.
Yeah, and like we said before the season, I mean, both Pache and Rojas, the only thing they need to do is not be zeros in the lineup, and that's exactly what Rojas has been so far. He's been a total dud, and it's not going to work if that's going to happen here for weeks on end because the Phillies are going to send them down and probably just use somebody else at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the way Pache looked in spring, I know you can't judge everything off of spring, but he did start to hit righties a little bit, so there is a possibility he's not as much of a detriment moving forward. But again, we'll see. 2 games, don't overreact, but we will certainly get our answer, and that's something we're just going to continue to monitor. And I think it's important to talk about it. So I'm definitely with you, Drew. Like I think it's something you got to watch throughout the next couple of weeks, and obviously that was already something to watch. But yeah, 2 games, not much to be encouraged about. So I would say slight discouragement after today.
Yeah, definitely hurt his case for staying on the major league roster, no doubt.
For sure. Yeah, today was a little bit of a stock down for sure. Yeah, I like what Chris says. It's bad when Dombrowski leaves early. I didn't even see that, but I mean, I certainly don't blame him. That I would have done the same thing, honestly. There's no point in staying there and watching whatever that was today.
Probably went down to the clubhouse to revoke all their paychecks from last week.
Yeah. Regretting some decisions. But and Tony says Atlanta pitchers can pitch so relaxed because their lineup is spectacular. That's what happens when you get a lead. I mean, it makes it a lot easier on you guys. And it's unfortunate because we get Nola that lead, and it didn't seem like that really helped him either. He did settle in once it was a blowout, and he at least ate some innings for us. And I think that's kind of the next conversation here. But we can probably get to a few more of these comments about Cassidy too before we move on. But we'll transition into Nola next. And Ian says he doesn't even look like he's swinging through the ball about Cassidy. He looks unsure as he's swinging the bat, and his bat speed looks slow. And I think part of it is like he starts to swing, and he's like, oh, shoot, that was a curveball. Or, oh, shoot, that was a slider. And then he's like, well, he just kind of like lollygags and just kind of flails at it. And it's just like and it's not even necessarily chasing the past two games. There's breaking balls that are in the zone that he's just whiffing right through because he's not picking up on them. I don't really know what the fix is at this point. Hopefully Dustin Lin can help with the chase rates and all of that type of stuff, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for Cassidy with the way it's going right now.
Gotta sneeze.
Yeah, no, you're good. And also Tony says on that too, Cassidy should just sit on the outside breaking ball. That's mostly what we'll see. Yeah, at this point, I mean, I certainly don't think that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, like Ian said, doesn't look like he's swinging through the ball. Doesn't even look like he's swinging at the ball. I don't even know what he's doing at this point. It's if he's not going to be better than that, I mean, I don't even know. What do you do?
Yeah, that's
a whole nother conversation. But
I don't even know I don't know how much I can even talk about it now with how discouraging the past 2 days of swings were for him. But anyway, let's move on to the pitching a little bit. So
something less depressing.
Yeah, but still depressing. Nola did eat some innings at the end there, and Luis Ortiz comes in, who I don't even care how well he pitches, like Luis Ortiz. His job is solely to eat innings and be the long man. That's kind of what we were hoping for. And then he goes down with a left sprain or left ankle sprain or something like that. So that's not ideal because you're already using a lot of your bullpen the past couple of days, and now you're going into tomorrow and Monday, and you don't get an off day until maybe later next week or a little after that. I don't know when the next off day is, but point being, that was not ideal because you already are down Taiwan. Then Turnbull, who was your long man, he is now going to be in the rotation, and then that puts Luis Ortiz as your long man. He is now injured, so who knows what the length of that's going to be. Thankfully, it's not left ankle sprain. He'll come back from that. But I mean, I don't know. You may, if he's on the IL, you probably look to Colby Allard, Max Castillo, and Nick Nelson. And I would hope you're not having to see any of those guys pitch in actual game action. If they are, it means we are getting blown out again.
Human white flag. Yep.
Yeah. That's exactly the way that Brogdon was described yesterday. So, that's kind of where we're at on that front. And I don't know. There wasn't really much else to talk about the rest of the pitching. Soto looked okay. And low leverage spots, only so much you can take away from that. I think Marte has looked solid the past 2 days in garbage time. I think he will pitch in a couple high leverage spots. I think the slider looks better this year too. And I liked Marte last year. I'm not saying I liked his performance in the big leagues last year, but I certainly thought there was potential. And I think there is something to work with there. The sinker looks very good. I mean, it always has when he's been with the Phillies. The slider just didn't look like it didn't look like he commanded it last year to me. And it's looked better the past couple of days from the little I've seen. Because at that point, let's be real, none of us are really like totally honed into the game. But from when I have been honed into the game during those innings, I think he's had some bright spots. So I don't know. I mean, that's something. It's low leverage, so there's a lot less pressure. But you'll take what you can get. And we already talked about Brogdon. So and Dominguez, unfortunately, like he was about to get out of that jam, and then he kind of was the one who let things really get blown open with the Marcell Ozuna home run. That was an absolute tank. I mean, that's what Marcell Ozuna does in the regular season, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can count on Marcell Ozuna in the regular season, but definitely not the postseason. Like we were talking, like once he gets to facing really good pitching, he's just basically a zero. And he bats right in the middle of their lineup, and I think that's a big reason why they fail in the playoffs, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But other than Soto today, I mean, and I guess Marte looked pretty good too, but the entire pitching staff just, I don't even know at this point. It's just been a wash of a couple of days, and you just move on from it, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the guys were unavailable today. Like Alvarado definitely was, no doubt about it. But they probably didn't want to go to like Hoffman and all the other guys as well.
I think you'll see Hoffman tomorrow if we are up at some point for sure, or even if it's a tie game. I think he'll get some work. And Ian asked what happened to Kobe. So he had his first spring outing, threw 13 pitches, 1 strike. The trainer went to check on him, and we didn't see him pitch after that. And he started the year on the IL. So unfortunately, he's not there. I actually did like Kobe as the year progressed last year. I thought he was a very good long man. And again, the mop-up role, he is the human white flag, like you said, but I thought he was a very good white flag last year. And I think he could do that again this year when he comes back. But I don't know what he's going to look like. I don't know what the issue is. But we'll find out. So, yeah, he's just on the IL right now, so he couldn't. I think that's another thing. Like, Luis Ortiz will probably go back down to AAA when Kobe comes back, I would guess, unless I don't know. I don't know if they have other plans. But Kobe can't go down to AAA unless he gets DFA'd. So I would imagine he's going to be back on the Major League roster.
Right.
Yeah, swinging like Jay Cave. That was – yeah, at least that's not our problem anymore. But yeah, Tony says, I love Out of Market, in case some of you don't know, not trying to plug. Team Mobile offers MLB TV for free. Well, good for you. Well, I'm glad to hear you were able to watch some of the Out of Market games too. And watch the Phillies game. It sounds like Out of Market, so that's good. But yeah, MLB TV is certainly a little pricier now. So me and Drew aren't using it this year, unfortunately. But
yeah,
I'm glad for any. I mean, if you get it for free, I mean, that's a steal. Like that's a bargain you're not going to get. Unless, there's other sites I'm sure you could use to watch some free baseball, but we won't talk about those. Anyway, we're getting off track here. I don't know. It's just, that's that type of day when there's nothing else to talk about when the game goes this bad. So,
yeah.
And yeah, like Sully said, JT was a very good four-hole tonight. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but yep, just to confirm what you said, absolutely. He was great. So.
Yep. Love seeing that especially after the day he had yesterday, like I said earlier, because he's pivotal, and him having a bounce back year is going to be very crucial to them going far in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. And I don't really have anything else on what happened today, honestly, Drew. I don't know if you had anything else to say. Yeah, there's really not anything else to talk about. And we kind of talked about tomorrow already, too. We talked about Ranger. I think he's going to be the stopper tomorrow, too. Pache, we talked about him playing tomorrow, possibly. Would like to see that for sure. And hopefully we get off the schneid and actually get a win and not start the year 0-5 again. That would be disappointing. I hope if we start the year 0-3, whatever, but you got to at least get some wins in the Red Series. Again, no 0-5 this year. So, Phil's dropped another stink bomb. Star Wars says, this time complete with poor starting pitching. Are you concerned or thinking the team will go 160 to go? I mean, again, we kind of answered that. I don't think we're very concerned just yet. And 160 is a lot of games left. We're not even, 5 games in. So, no, I'm not concerned yet at all. But anything else you want to say, Drew, before we kind of wrap this up?
No, I mean, the only thing I could say is don't get too down in the dumps about the Phils yet. I mean, long season to go. And today was one of the days where literally nothing went their way except for that missed call on Castellanos. So if that's the highlight of your day, then, I mean, you're going bad.
Right. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say either. So, again, another one. Wash it from the memory and move forward to tomorrow. Hopefully I don't have to say that too many times this upcoming week. But that being said, it is exciting that baseball is back. I'm glad it's back. It sucks that the season started this way, but at least we have something to talk about, right? I'd rather have that and be upset about the Phillies than not have anything to talk about and just be talking in circles the whole offseason. That is one of the worst parts of the offseason, especially this past offseason there was nothing going on. So I'm glad we're at least sitting here. Even if mad, I'm glad we're sitting here talking about some Phillies baseball. But again, guys, I pinned the Discord at the top of the live chat too. So if you guys aren't in the Discord, talk a lot of Phils there. Definitely very active today with the Phillies game too. A lot of opinions flying around. So hop in, share your thoughts, talk Phils with some of us. And yeah, sometimes we watch the games together. Sometimes we hop in and just talk Phils on there too, just for fun and just relax. But yeah, when we're not on stream, you guys can talk to us there too. So a couple more comments before we head out of here. Sully says, Braves are just hot out of the gate this year. Yeah, we're 0-2, so what? Tomorrow is more about us finding our rhythm. Let's not let the Braves overshadow our whole season already. Yeah, that's the energy we needed going into tomorrow's game to finish off this series. And Ian said, better to have the Phils than not. I'll take this over not having baseball any day. Exactly. Yeah, so those are two good comments to go into tomorrow on. Tomorrow is Easter. We hope you guys all have a good time celebrating if you are. And we will not be live tomorrow, but we will be live on Monday recapping the Braves series and also talking about the upcoming series with the Reds. So make sure to tune in on Monday. We'll get that going. Looking forward to talking to you guys. And yeah, anything you want to say, Drew, before we sign off here?
Nope. Like you said, everybody come join the Discord if you're not already not in there, because there was a ton of people in there talking today. And, you know, it's a good place to be whenever the season's rolling like this. So hop in there for sure.
Absolutely. So thank you guys again for watching. We appreciate you. Sully, noticed you in the chat the past couple days. New to the channel, it looks like. So welcome to the channel. It's been great to have you in the last couple streams. Really excited to have you guys in here. And Tony Dulcimeris was in here too. Good to see you. Dulcimeris, longtime subscriber, but a lot of longtime subscribers here, a lot of new subscribers. And again, people from Italy, from Okinawa. Awesome. Love to see it in here. And sir, welcome in. I think you're new to the channel. If not, welcome back. If you are, welcome in. Good to have you in here. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping in the stream. Appreciate you. And like Sola said, 93 wins. That's still where we're going. Drew's got him at 94. I got him at 93. We're still on that track, Sully. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. God bless y'all. We'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.
Peace.